1984 was full of quiet moments hiding behind bigger hits. Between chart toppers and MTV staples, softer songs drifted through car radios and late nights. Some were huge once, others simply faded. Let's bring them back and see what you remember. Can you name these 20 forgotten soft rock hits of 1984? I Just Called to Say I Love You, Stevie Wonder.
In fact, here's just another ordinary.
I Just Called to Say I Love You arrived in 1984 with a simple, heartfelt softness built on gentle synths and an easy melody. Wonder's vocal is warm and direct, offering affection without complication, a quiet reminder that sincerity alone can carry a song.
I just called to say how much
Despite its success, the track is often brushed aside when discussing Wonder's career. Earlier classics and deeper compositions tend to define his legacy, leaving this straightforward love song remembered instantly, yet rarely revisited with the same respect.
No Halloween.
The video keeps things light and approachable, reflecting the song's uncomplicated message. As that simple declaration fades, the next song slows the moment further, turning a quick confession into something more personal and lingering. Hello, Lionel Richie. Hello arrived in 1984 with a tender, lingering softness built around the piano and a slow, deliberate pace. Richie's voice is gentle and searching, letting each line breathe, turning a simple greeting into a moment filled with longing and emotional vulnerability.
Hello, is it me?
Over time, the song became so familiar that it was easy to overlook. Bigger, more upbeat hits shaped Richie's public image, leaving this quiet ballad remembered for its opening line, but less often appreciated for its patience and restraint.
I can see it in your eyes.
The video leans into that sense of yearning with intimate, memorable imagery that stays focused on emotion rather than movement. As that unanswered question hangs in the air, the next song offers comfort, promising loyalty and connection through time. Time after time, Cyndi Lauper. Time After Time arrived in 1984 with a gentle, emotional softness built on simple synth lines and a steady, comforting rhythm. Lauper's vocal sounds sincere and exposed, giving the song a sense of trust and reassurance that feels deeply personal.
Time after time, if you fall, I will.
Although it became one of her most loved songs, it often stands in the shadow of her brighter, more playful hits. Girls Just Want to Have Fun defined her image, leaving this quieter ballad less discussed despite its emotional depth.
If you're lost, you can look and you will find me.
The video reinforces that tenderness through intimate moments and a calm, reflective pace. As that promise of loyalty settles in, the next song steps into heartbreak, trading reassurance for loss and quiet resignation. Against All Odds, Phil Collins. Against All Odds arrived in 1984 with a stark, piano-led softness that felt raw and exposed. Collins delivers the vocal with restraint and vulnerability, letting silence and space carry the weight of heartbreak rather than a sweeping arrangement.
So take a look at me now.
Despite its emotional pull, the song is often grouped with Collins' bigger pop moments. Upbeat singles and later anthems tend to define his solo image, leaving this stripped-back ballad remembered by feeling more than by title.
Come back to me, here's against all odds.
The video mirrors that isolation with muted visuals and a slow, deliberate pace. As the final note lingers, the next song shifts inward, trading open loss for something quieter, where love is held privately and spoken only in dreams. Hard Habit to Break, Chicago.
I guess I thought you'd be here.
Hard Habit to Break arrived in 1984 with a polished, emotional softness built around piano, smooth harmonies, and a slow, deliberate build. The song feels heavy with regret, carried by shared vocals that sound weary, reflective, and quietly conflicted. Over time, it became overshadowed by Chicago's earlier classics and bigger radio staples. Their 70s work continues to dominate memory, leaving this later ballad recognized for its feeling but less often recalled as a defining moment in their catalog. The video leans into mood and restraint, using subdued lighting and stillness to reflect emotional distance. As that regret settles in, the next song steps fully into longing, turning reflection into absence and memories into something painfully unresolved. Missing You, John Waite.
Every time I think of you.
Missing You arrived in 1984 with a restrained, emotional softness built on steady rhythm and subtle synths. Waite's vocal sounds controlled yet aching, capturing loneliness through understatement rather than drama, letting the space between lines do the work. Over time, the song became closely tied to its moment and slowly faded from focus. Bigger 80s ballads and shifting trends pushed it into familiar territory, remembered instantly when heard, but less often named among defining soft rock classics. The video mirrors that quiet isolation with a calm, nocturnal mood and unhurried pacing. As that sense of absence settles in, the next song pulls back even further, drifting into a cooler, more distant reflection shaped by restraint and silence. Drive the Cars.
Who's gonna tell you when?
Drive arrived in 1984 with a calm, atmospheric softness built on gentle synths and a slow, deliberate pace. The vocal feels distant and reflective, giving the song a quiet vulnerability that lingers rather than resolves.
Who's gonna drive you home tonight?
Despite its impact, the song often sits behind the band's sharper, more upbeat hits. Tracks driven by energy and edge shaped their image, leaving this restrained moment remembered by mood more than by name. The video reinforces that stillness with a somber tone and lingering imagery that emphasizes emotional distance. As that quiet question hangs unanswered, the next song brings warmth back in, turning reflection into hope carried through dreams. I Can Dream About You, Dan Hartman. I Can Dream About You arrived in 1984 with a smooth, hopeful softness built on gentle synths and a steady groove. Hartman's vocal carries warmth and optimism, giving the song a comforting feel that balances longing with quiet reassurance. Over time, the track became closely associated with its era and gradually slipped from regular rotation. Bigger soundtrack moments and shifting pop trends pushed it aside, leaving the melody familiar, while the title itself faded from memory. The video reflects that dreamlike quality with soft lighting and an easy sense of movement. As hope drifts gently forward, the next song turns darker, trading warmth for mystery and a more guarded emotional distance. Eyes Without a Face, Billy Idol. Eyes Without a Face arrived in 1984 with an unexpectedly soft, hypnotic tone built on minimal synths and a slow pulse. Idol strips things back, delivering a subdued vocal that feels detached and uneasy, turning vulnerability into atmosphere rather than confession.
Eyes without a face.
Despite its success, the song often sits outside discussions of soft rock. Idol's harder-edged image and louder singles dominate memory, leaving this restrained, almost fragile moment less frequently recognized for how quietly effective it is.
I better realize.
The video leans into that unease with shadowed imagery and a dreamlike, nocturnal mood. As mystery replaces warmth, the next song smooths the edges again, shifting toward elegance, control, and a cooler sense of confidence. Smooth Operator, Sade.
Diamond light.
Smooth Operator arrived in 1984 with a sleek, late-night softness built on smooth jazz inflections and a steady, unhurried groove. Sade's vocals are cool and controlled, creating an atmosphere of elegance and emotional distance that feels quietly confident. Although it became widely known, the song is often absorbed into the overall image of the band rather than singled out on its own. Later tracks and broader trends tend to define Sade's legacy, leaving this debut-era moment taken for granted. The video reinforces that sophistication with dim lighting and a cinematic, lounge-like mood. As that cool confidence settles in, the next song leans further into nostalgia, turning smooth control into warmth and reflection. Sea of Love, the Honeydrippers. Sea of Love arrived in 1984 with a warm, nostalgic softness shaped by slow rhythm and gentle harmony. The song feels like a quiet throwback, carrying a tender romantic mood that drifts patiently rather than building toward drama. Over time, it became closely tied to a short-lived project and slowly slipped from everyday rotation. Bigger names and louder trends overshadowed this mellow revival, leaving it remembered by feeling more than by frequent mention. The video leans into classic romance with simple, timeless imagery and an unhurried pace. As that nostalgic warmth settles in, the next song steps deeper into longing, trading comfort for a more vulnerable emotional reach. If Ever You're in My Arms Again, Peabo, Bryson. If Ever You're in My Arms Again arrived in 1984 with a tender, emotional softness built around piano and a slow, patient rise. Bryson's rich vocal carries longing and sincerity, giving the song a heartfelt, almost pleading warmth.
Maybe too much to ask, but I swear.
Over time, the track slipped quietly behind Bryson's more recognizable duets and soundtrack moments. Later successes shaped his public image, leaving this intimate solo ballad less frequently recalled despite its emotional depth. The video mirrors that sincerity with calm lighting and a gentle pace. As that longing lingers, the next song looks backward through memory, turning present emotion into reflection shaped by time and distance. The Boys of Summer, Don Henley. The Boys of Summer arrived in 1984 with a cool, reflective softness built on shimmering synths and a steady pulse. Henley's vocal sounds thoughtful and restrained, capturing nostalgia through distance rather than open emotion. Although it became widely known, the song often blends into Henley's broader catalog rather than standing on its own. Later solo work and Eagles classics tend to shape his legacy, leaving this reflective moment taken quietly for granted. The video deepens that sense of memory with stark imagery and a slow, cinematic pace. As summer fades into the distance, the next song returns to warmth, trading reflection for gentler reassurance and emotional comfort. Sad songs, Say So Much, Elton John. Sad Songs, Say So Much arrived in 1984 with an upbeat softness built on bright piano lines and an easy rhythm. The song feels light and reassuring, offering comfort through melody while keeping its emotional weight gentle and approachable. Over time, the track became overshadowed by Elton John's larger, more dramatic classics. His 70s anthems continue to define his image, leaving this friendly, radio-ready moment less often highlighted in discussions of his career. The video reflects that warmth with a relaxed, welcoming atmosphere. As comfort settles in, the next song shifts direction, trading reassurance for emotional strength and a sense of rising resolve. The Warrior, Scandal. The Warrior arrived in 1984 with a bold yet polished softness built on steady rhythm and sweeping melody. Patti Smith's vocal carries strength and vulnerability together, giving the song a confident but emotionally open tone that still feels inviting. Over time, the track became closely tied to its era and slowly slipped from everyday rotation. Later trends and louder pop rock moments overshadowed it, leaving the chorus familiar, while the song itself became less frequently named. The video highlights resolve through dramatic lighting and controlled movement that mirrors the song's rising confidence. As that strength settles in, the next song moves toward romance, trading resolve for gentle closeness and emotional warmth. Almost Paradise, Mike Reno and Ann Wilson.
I thought that dreams belonged to other men.
Almost Paradise arrived in 1984 with a soaring, romantic softness built on sweeping keyboards and a steady rise. The duet blends two powerful voices into a hopeful, cinematic sound that feels open, earnest, and full of emotional promise. Over time, the song became closely tied to its film association and slowly slipped from regular radio focus. Bigger soundtrack anthems and shifting tastes pushed it into familiar territory, remembered by melody more than by name. The video leans into that cinematic feeling with dramatic framing and gentle pacing. As that hopeful closeness fades, the next song turns toward solitude, trading shared emotion for a quieter, more private confession. No More Lonely Nights, Paul McCartney.
I can wait another day.
No More Lonely Nights arrived in 1984 with a smooth, reflective softness built around gentle guitar and a relaxed tempo. McCartney's vocal feels calm and sincere, offering comfort through melody rather than dramatic expression.
No more lonely nights.
Over time, the song slipped behind McCartney's larger solo moments and Beatles classics. His earlier work continues to dominate memory, leaving this later romantic ballad less frequently highlighted despite its lasting warmth.
Day or night, I'm always there.
The video carries a soft, cinematic feel with warm lighting and understated motion. As that quiet promise settles in, the next song lifts the mood again, shifting toward brightness, rhythm, and an easy sense of celebration. Caribbean Queen, Billy Ocean.
She dashed by me in painted-on jeans.
Caribbean Queen arrived in 1984 with a smooth, rhythmic softness shaped by warm synth lines and an easy groove. The song feels bright and inviting, carrying romance through melody while keeping its mood relaxed and accessible.
Caribbean queen, now we're sharing the
Over time, the track became closely associated with its era and gradually faded from everyday playlists. Shifting trends and newer dance pop sounds pushed it aside, leaving the chorus familiar, while the full song slipped quietly into memory.
wounds and the hearts that beat as one.
The video reflects that warmth with sunlit imagery and a gentle sense of movement. As that brightness settles, the mood begins to slow, preparing for a song about resolution, where restless emotion finally gives way to calm and closure. The Search is Over, Survivor.
How can I convince you?
The Search is Over arrived in 1984 with a calm, reassuring softness shaped by gentle guitar and steady rhythm. The melody feels reflective and resolved, offering comfort through patience rather than drama, as if the song is quietly closing a long, emotional chapter.
The search is over. You were with me.
Over time, the track became overshadowed by Survivor's more energetic anthems. Songs like Eye of the Tiger came to define the band, leaving this quieter ballad recognized by feeling but rarely recalled by name.
So if you
The video carries a warm, understated mood that mirrors the song's sense of closure. These were the softer sounds that shaped 1984 in quiet ways. Some faded behind bigger hits, others simply drifted out of rotation. But when you hear them again, the memories return just as easily. Which one took you back the most? Let us know in the comments, and join us next time as we revisit another forgotten year in music history.